It's that time again! It's the Berkey and the Badger Board Game Babble Show. It's gonna get wild. It's gonna get wacky. It might even get a little zany. We're gonna talk about board games and the board game industry. And, you know, we might talk about anything else we want to talk about.
Hey! We're back! It's Berkey and Badger on the Board Game Babble Show. Showing some love from our special guest, Mr. Stephen Buonocore.
Hello. Good to be here with you guys on the beginning of my very nice applause. The beginning of my podcasting tour for the fall winter of 2017. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, you know, you come to me on the day of my daughter's funeral, and you say, do you say Godfather? Do you say, you know, maybe it was the wedding, you know, I forget sometimes, but you say, do you call me Godfather? Do you show me respect?
Because you have to be you have to be from New Jersey or from New York to really do the accent. I'm telling you. So
well,
don't.
You know, you're.
Say hello to my little friend. A cup of tea.
That's the wrong mob.
Only what I know.
You know, you asked to come on the podcast, you know, and so we make you an offer that you can't refuse, and so at least you're here, so that's a good thing.
I'm here showing my respect to the family.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing.
On the day of your daughter's wedding.
Yes,
Gil Hogan was telling us that New Jersey smells like popcorn some days.
New Jersey smells like popcorn?
Yeah.
Don't know why that would be, so...
Okay.
Well, Barry, my good friend, tell me what you've been up to. Let's get right on with the show. We got lots of stuff to talk about, so let's have some fun.
Yes, let's have some fun, Berkey. Or shall I say, Kevin, bored of Gen Consmire.
Yeah. We've had enough convention talk, haven't we?
Yes, we have. What have I been up to?
Yeah, what you been up to?
What have I been up to? Let's talk over each other some more. It makes some editing a bit more fun for me.
Yes, I love it. Love it.
Yeah, love it. Off the hook. I'm showing my nerd flag now. I've set up my Patreon for Board Games Everybody Should ... I have to do that ... which hopefully will help sponsor getting a new camera, because my cameras keep dying. I keep buying these Sony CyberSnaps, and they do a really good job of making videos. And this is like my third one, but that's dying as well. So I need a replacement. And I thought I'd set up a Patreon just to get a bit of spare change to help out. And also I've put up some special rewards as well. I'm doing a raffle monthly to give away a free copy, not a real physical copy, but a digital copy of my CD last night. I'm plugging myself. That makes a change. There you go. Last night.
I'm sure there'll be no other plugging going on here in this whole show. None.
Yeah, my wife.
Well, I gotta say, Barry, you know, you're talking about last night and your CD. This CD is awesome. If you guys want to have some ominous music tracks when you're playing a zombie game or playing some deep, dark dungeon crawl, this thing is fantastic.
Oh, yeah. That was a good plug as well. I've just sold my second CD. That's ominous.
Ominous, Barry.
Anywho, what have you been up to then, Kevin?
Well, I am right knee-deep in the post-production of our Board Game Theater episode of Royals. Yes, the Good King has got lots of shenanigans going on, and much intrigue is going on in the country.
What game's that, sorry?
That's the game of Royals, sir.
There you go.
Ding. Yeah, no, it's super fun. I tell you, we had a cast of 5 people, and my son was playing the marshal, and his good friend, who's a theater aficionado and just an incredibly talented young man, was the Duke, and they got into some Monty Python-esque humor, and they had us rolling. It was so funny. I'm I'm laughing my head off just doing the edits. So I got about another 30 hours to go, and then we're going to be launching that here in a couple weeks. So that's super exciting, but that's keeping me a lot of busy with my other work things. So that's what I've been up to.
Also, what else have you been up to? You prepared a competition with our special guest, yes?
Oh, yes.
What a beautiful segue, Barry. We have a very special benefactor, Sir Stephen of Buonocore of Stronghold Games. We are making a fantastic announcement here. We are doing a contest. Ba-bam. We are giving away a copy of Dragon and Flagon, the new hit game by Stronghold Games and the Inglestig family. In addition to that, we are going to have 3 prizes, first, second, and third prize. First prize, you're going to win a copy of the game. Second prize, you're actually going to win one of these awesome Dragon and Flagon pint glasses. Let me show it to you here. I got one. Look at this.
Put it up on the screen.
Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah, baby. Dragon and Flagon.
Sexy.
And one of these awesome coasters that I snagged at Gen Con from the Stronghold booth.
Is that another word for
yeah. These are awesome, Stephen. I love these things.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
I love things as well.
Tell us a little bit about the game, Stephen.
Sure. Well, in the Dragon and Flagon, you are playing one of 9 very ethnically diverse, by the way, fantasy characters. All the archetypes of fantasy: fighters, barbarians, rogues, clerics, druids, all those kind of characters. And, of course, in any fantasy tavern, what happens? A fight breaks out, because that's what happens in fantasy taverns. So you're trying to get to become have the most reputation at the Dragon and Flagon, which is the name of the tavern. And you're literally going to be swinging from chandeliers, punching people, fighting with swords, casting spells depending on your class, rolling barrels at people, tipping over tables, smashing chairs over everyone. So it's a 3D environment. The entire game is set on a board, which is, of course, flat, but all those other pieces that I basically mentioned. There's tables, there's wooden chairs, there's wooden mugs, wooden barrels for all the characters, and they're moving around the board and hitting each other and swinging. Phenomenal game, so my kind of game. It's done all with program movement, and you don't have to program too far in advance, not crazy like 5 moves like a Robo-Rally game. You program your first movement and the next one, and then once you resolve one, the next one slides over and you program one more, so you don't get really frustrated like that. Fantastic game, and the street date for that, worldwide street date, is tomorrow, Wednesday. I'm not sure when this is going to drop, but the people listening live, of course. Wednesday, August 31st, worldwide street date for the Dragon and Flagon. Also, also the worldwide street date for The Pursuit of Happiness, the co-publication with Artipia Games. So both of those games in stores tomorrow.
Awesome. There's a picture of the Dragon and Flagon.
Very nice. Yes.
Yeah, baby. No, I got a chance to see this at Gen Con. Saw Jeff Engelstein demoing the game, and people were just having a blast doing this. So I'm really excited to get a hold of that.
Can you put that graphic back up again? I want to show. This is maybe my favorite box, certainly that I've ever done for one of my games. Definitely my favorite. It's not even all. You can't really see it all on the screen, but
see what I can do.
The point is, that's okay. But the point is, everything on this front of this box is is thematic in the game. Even on the bottom left, where it shows you like the ages, the time to play, and the number of players, it's a little sign on the side of the Dragon and Flagon. And the bottom right-hand corner is the company logo, like it is in most boxes, but that's on the side of a mug, which is tilted over. And then you see all of the great characters there, all using their abilities to hit people and win the biggest reputation. So just a fun, crazy, chaotic ballroom brawl, but really well designed by Jeff Engelstein, Brian Sidney, and Jeff Engelstein, the Engelstein design team.
Yeah, I watched the video on Board Game Geek from this production, and it just sounds like a whole lot of fun. Sounds like my kind of game. So you guys have a chance to win your very own and Flagon. We have actually, this contest is going to run for a month. I'm going to pull up the graphic here for you. And you can find out information about this. It's going to cut it off a little bit on our screen for the YouTube purposes, but you can go to BoardGameTheater.com Facebook page, Berkey and Badger at Facebook, and you can see the details. It's really simple. We're using the Gleam application, and all you have to do is log into your Gleam app, go and like us on Facebook, go and subscribe to us on YouTube, go to the Stronghold Games page. You get extra entries for that. But one thing that we're doing that's really cool, I think we're going to have a lot of fun, and we would love to get your guys' participation in this. You can get 3 extra entries by joining the contest and then just hashtagging MyDragon. Hashtag MyDragon. Feel free to tag at Stronghold Games and at Impact. Berkey and Badger on Twitter, and that will get people to share your favorite dragon. That's your favorite drink, the thing that you love the most. It can be an adult beverage, or it can be a regular beverage. I have my favorite regular beverage right here.
And I have my favorite regular beverage. I have Vulcan Blood, as you well know.
Now,
very nice.
yes, Vulcan Blood. Now, we want to hear this first at Berkey and Badger. We're going to hear the whole world is going to hear this. Sir Buonocore, Sir Don Buonocore.
Yes.
What is your favorite dragon?
What is my favorite drink?
Your favorite dragon, yes. Your dragon, your drink.
Well, anybody who knows me knows that I am a huge fan of craft beers. So any finely crafted beer is by far my favorite drink. But of course, it's 12 noon and I'm working, so I'm drinking colored water here with some chemicals in it to give it flavor.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I was going to have a beer, but by the time I started drinking it, it'd probably be warm, and I don't like warm beer. I like ice cold beer, a nice kind of ruby beer, you know, one with cherries in it. Really.
Come on, you're English, all right? You're from the UK, right? Originally?
Yeah, but I never used to like English beer. English beer kind of sucked. French beer, Belgian beer, by example, is a lot better.
Belgian beer is lovely, but there's a lot of great beers in the UK as well. I do love English beers.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, awesome. I think let's
podcast.
Again, join us in the contest, and you get up to 10 entries to win. It's going to be super exciting, and we're going to have a lot of fun with that. So join us in on that thing. And with that, Sir Barry, we are going to move on to our next segment, Things That Make You Go,
Oh, yeah, so it is. I'm going to have to edit all this out because I totally mucked up.
Live podcasting.
Live podcasting. Let's see if
Things that make us go, Board game news. Berkey and Badger reflect on the current events that are happening in the board game industry. Some may be good, some may be bad. But there are all things that make us go,
I need a better graphic for that.
Well, tell us, Barry, what is making you go,
What's making me go, is very, very soon, in just over a month's time, it's going to be Essen. And so I am looking forward to Essen. And I've been looking at Board Game Geek as Eric Martin is preparing a big list of all the board games which are being announced at Essen. And to count at this very second, there's 496 games being announced at Essen. And that's, wow, astronomical. But then I started to think...
And that's just from Stronghold Games, right?
Almost. You're almost right.
Yeah, but where was I? I was wowing, wasn't I? Yeah, I was wowing. That's where I was. Phew, I'm off the hook. But when I started looking through the list, I started to realize that, yeah, this is Essen. So this is games that are being announced there because there's games that are already released in France, like a year or 2 years maybe, that are coming out at Essen. And then there's games that have been released in the States, where you guys are, which have already been released. And it's like, okay, so maybe there's not so many brand new titles hitting the street. So it's really interesting to see that there's a lot of games coming out. And again, I as I looked through the images and everything, I noticed that there wasn't a lot of family games. But then again, there weren't the list from Haber, there wasn't a list from BioViva, and all the other companies, the Ravensburger, for example. But there were lots of kind of like medium to heavyweight kind of dark covers and stuff, and it's got me intrigued. That's got me very intrigued that it's going to be like this kind of different air at Essen this year, because the new games are going to be kind of like gamer-based more than family-based.
What do you think about that, Stephen?
I think Barry's not right necessarily.
Well, we all know that already, so that we all think that too.
The number is going to be, and again, it depends on how you measure the number of like 500. You said 490 something. The number actually from the last couple of years at Essen was 800 to 900 new games, and it depends on how you measure it. If you count a game that was like sort of like a Gen Con, as it also counts it here because it's kind of new to Europe. And at Essen, you'll get a lot of the family games and the casual games, and you know a lot of companies haven't posted their new games yet, and they're not, and those people and those companies don't necessarily have like Board Game Geek presence. So when you're moving around Essen, especially with some of the larger companies, you're going to see plenty of family games. So I mean, I think the whole spectrum is wide open of games that are being released, you know, now across the world. So gamer games, absolutely. Family games, just as many, I think.
That is Germany, and it's the home of family games there.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Well, I think it's just amazing the fact that we have this amount of product, this amount of, you know, there's just so many games coming out. It's just remarkable to me.
Yeah, it is absolutely astonishing.
And well, there's the Stronghold games.
And then there's all my releases, which are quite substantial.
Yeah,
well, I know we're going to have a lot of...
How many did you have last year, Stephen?
How many games did I release last year? In total?
Yeah, I think there was 504.
Last year,
I think I know.
Last year's not well. You have this. You'll never get them all. I mean, I don't think you will unless you really know everything. The total number of releases last year, announced releases, were 17.
See?
This year, the total number, if I don't include 3 of the ones from last year that actually ended up street dating a little late into 7, if I don't include those, the total number currently announced for this year is 21. So as my marketing guy, Chris Schreiber, he's doing some marketing for me. He's listening in. How you doing, Chris? If I go by his fun marketing stuff, I hit blackjack this year. I hit 21 new releases.
Wow.
Cool.
Which is not, which is a blessing and a burden, and the same thing. And I think we're going to be hitting a little bit on this later in the podcast. I saw some of the notes that, since there are so many games coming out, it's hard to focus. How do you do marketing on things like that? But we'll get to that later. But it is an amazing, true banner year again for Stronghold in the variety and the quality of the games, and it's very exciting to me, and I think the rest of the the fans out there have really embraced them. So it's a good time. It's a good time to be a gamer in general.
Absolutely.
Over to you, Berkey. What's been making you going wow then?
Well, one of the things that I found, I was listening to my good friend Lance Meister and Aldi on the Alaboom, and they started talking, and I'd heard some buzz about this a little bit ahead of time, but about pre-con, BGG-con. And they actually put it on a Kickstarter to find out, because the problem was they had about 1,000 people on the waiting list to go to BGG-con. It sold out in a very short period of time. There wasn't availability at the hotels, that type of thing. I was able to get a ticket right away, but wasn't able to get a room. Thankfully, I have some connections with some people at Arcade Wonders, and the King will be making an appearance, so the King has a place to lay his head.
Very nice.
But nonetheless, there's such incredible demand. It's a wonderful, relaxing gamers convention, and there's no doubt that it's so popular. And one of the things that makes it so popular is what you were just talking about, is Essen. I mean, they do a fantastic job of bringing the new Essen releases, and the BGG Con library is just beautifully stocked, well run, and so it's a fantastic convention that I've been to the last 3 years. But it was interesting because they were talking about splitting it up, and this pre-con, it's basically just to get a ticket. It's an $80 ticket, and it's all about gaming, and it's all about the gaming library. It doesn't have the bells and whistles of the extra events that are going on. It's not focused on the vendor hall, which has been growing at BGG-Con. And one of the comments that really made me go, was thinking, well, why didn't they just do it? Why did they kickstart this thing? And Aldi talked about this and made some comments regarding that not doing a convention right can really set a company back. I mean, one bad convention can really make or break. And he said so they had to be very thoughtful about it before they signed the contract with the hotel. And they need at least 800 people to sign up to make this happen. Currently, there's 9 days to go. They have 165 backers, about $17,000 of the $64,000 goal. And he thought it was going to be about a 50-50% chance that it was actually going to fly. Definitely makes me go, You know, do you go ahead of time and have some extra days of gaming? How many people can actually go to an 8-10 day conference? Just a lot to think about. You have any thoughts about that, Stephen?
More gaming is good gaming, but no, I agree with you that it's hard, obviously, to take off for 10 days. Hard for me to do it, and this is my livelihood. I think that for either people who are local, I think it's going to be fantastic if they pull it off. You know, they couldn't get in, so now they can do this, or they want to go to both. That's certainly a good thing. They come each night. That's going to be fun. And for those people like those other, those 1,000 people who couldn't go, if they want to come and use the Board Game Geek library for 5 days before the main con, I think that's a good thing. And I'll probably end up getting there early just to say having a good time down there.
That's what I was going to ask you. If as a vendor and as an insider, are you going to utilize that time to do more networking, give you more opportunity? I know when you go to Essen, you're like booked from appointment to appointment to appointment. But where BGG, it's kind of the end of the convention season. You can kind of relax a little bit. Does this give you an opportunity to go early and do that?
I've already taken all the meetings that I need to take at Essen, really, because that's where I'm doing most of my business and meeting my partners there that will be doing games in 2017. And probably now at BGG-Con, if I do get a little bit of extra time, I'll try to relax. That's what I'll do mostly, and just play some games with the gamers. I mean, I don't necessarily need to do more business there, but a little bit of business and definitely some relaxation would be a nice thing to end the convention season.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about that, Barry? Do you have any thoughts about it?
Yeah, I think that I think people take it a bit too seriously. They can't get into a grand event like that, and expanding an event just to accommodate for those people is a good idea, but at the same time, there's still going to be people that are going to be disappointed. And if you can't go, you can't go. If you can't get tickets to see Justin Timberlake, you can't get tickets to see Justin Timberlake. I mean, it's not the end of the world.
But this isn't Justin Timberlake, man. This is board gaming.
I don't know why I thought of Justin Timberlake. I was trying to think of someone worse. I can't think of the other one. Oh dear. Kylie Minogue. No, not Kylie Minogue. No, she's good.
Well, I wish them all the luck in the world. I hope that they do pull it off and it becomes a positive thing for a lot of folks. They might miss out on some things, but they're still going to experience gaming. They're going to experience the camaraderie of this hobby, and I think it's all positive. I know one thing with BGG-Con, I think it's developed more and more over the last few years where it has more vendor-related things, even though it's not the big Gen Con Essen show that even Origins, but you're starting to see more of a vendor presence there, and it's nice to get a little bit of that flavor too. So if you want to check out new things and get demos from manufacturers.
Yeah, yeah, and always good things come to an end. That's the thing in life. You know, a convention never seems long enough. So you just gotta enjoy what you can do and enjoy it if you can get there. That's
True that.
mm.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, I think we've kind of covered things that make us go, So
Mhm.
we're going to have some fun with our guest.
You didn't ask me. You didn't
Oh
ask
no,
me.
we didn't.
What
Oh
do you think?
man,
Oh,
come on! What am I here for? Just to look this
Showing you
pretty?
respect, huh?
You're very beautiful. Yeah.
You're here for this pretty face.
You're,
That's what
you're a
I'm here
very beautiful man.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
My mother told me I had a face for radio. That's why I don't make very many video podcast appearances. No, all right. Just real quickly, because yes, we're going long. I'm sure for all the listeners and the video people out there and people watching us live. I think that one of the most significant things that are making me go or wow, wow, wow is the news from ICV2 that came out about 2 weeks ago or so, maybe it was a little more, that said the current size of the industry, of the hobby game industry, is now $1.2 billion.
Oh.
That's staggering when you think of this little cottage industry that that we grew up with. That I don't know when you guys got in to hobby gaming, but it's come from being a tens of millions of dollar industry to something that now a lot of people out there are looking and saying, whoa, there's some money being made here, so maybe we should be looking into this. Ergo, you see all those mergers and acquisitions going on. So, and I think we'll talk about a little bit of that later on too.
Yeah, but don't you think that's due to the fact that there's too much Pokemon going around, and parents want to draw their kids away from it and say, right, we're going to buy a board game. What board game should we buy? Here we go. What's this? Survive Escape from somewhere? I don't know.
There's a lot of great games out there. That's bringing that number up. I don't think it's I don't think it's the mass market stuff that we're talking about.
No.
So when you use that number was that the hobby board game industry number? That's not including the mass market?
It was hobby gaming. I don't recall off the top of my head if that included like CCGs, but I'm pretty sure it did. So Magic would be part of that too, I think. I'd have to go back and look, but the fact is that becomes a significant amount of money being made and being moved around in this industry.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. I think it includes frisbees as well. So. Moving right along.
We're going to move on to our guest show. What game is behind the door? But before we do that, we just want to give our guest Stephen Buonocore just a few minutes to let the fans maybe you've been underneath a rock somewhere and you haven't heard of this guy. Because the Podfather, as you are affectionately known, because you frequent many a podcast. A lot of people know who you are, but just for those that might not know, tell us a little bit about you, your background, the company that you have, and some of the things that you're doing, and then we'll move right on into our show.
Sure, really quickly, because like you said, most people probably are familiar. Stronghold Games was formed in late 2009, and we had our first games out in mid to late 2010. Our flagship product, Survive Escape from Atlantis, sells more games year over year, which is pretty unheard of in this industry. So we're very proud of that particular title.
Great
and
game.
its related titles. Thank you, and we've expanded that line over time. We're also responsible for the Space Cadets line, which started with Jeff Engelstein and family, Space Cadets and Space Cadets Dice Duel, and then we moved into a miniatures game, a cooperative miniatures game, Space Cadets Away Missions. Also, Core Worlds, our deck building card game by Andrew Parks. And right now, what we're doing is we are moving in heavily into co-publication partnerships with great publishers around the world. So now we have strategic partnerships with the great company in Germany, Eggert Spiele, also with Freedom and Freeze's company, 2F Spiele, with Uli Blenneman's company, Spielworks, which has been doing some amazing deep gamers games year after year, and also with our Tipia games out in Greece. And there'll be more coming up, more partnerships. Stronghold Games is doing a lot of games, and very varied games. We've already mentioned the Dragon and Flagon and the Pursuit of Happiness. So those games right there are two very different games. A chaotic tavern brawl versus a midweight Euro about how how you become happy in your life. Terraforming Mars, this middle heavyweight Euro about the planet Mars and changing its atmosphere and its soil and everything to make it habitable. That's coming out in September. And then just numerous other games where I'm just trying to place Stronghold games in a position such that every gamer is taking a look at Stronghold games for something. Like if they say, oh, I like this, well, what's Stronghold games doing, in that? You like heavy Euros? We've got some big heavy Euros already out, Kanban and 504, and now we're coming out with bigger ones or other ones like the Great Western Trail.
Yeah, that looks great. Yeah, Norfolk too, yeah.
And we're even doing a war game this year for the first time, the Fog of War, which is Jeff Engelstein's first solo design, which is kind of cool. So these are the kind of things that we're doing for gamers. We've even set a bunch of these games in what we're calling the Great Designer Series, so that we're putting as we work with really major influential people in the industry. Kramer and Kiesling was the first one we did for Porta Nigra. We did 504 was with Friedman Freeze. With Matthias Kramer, Kraftwagen V6, Jorvik, and the Fog of War. And Sola Fide. So all of these games are with great designers, and we're putting those in a line of games as well. So I can go on forever, but your audience will start to glaze over. So let's get on to the fun part of the episode, where I'm not constantly bombarding them with a commercial.
Well, I'll put the Blue Daniel in the background on the audio podcast. So that will keep them awake. And every time you mention the title, there'll be a firework explosion.
Oh, I like that. I like that idea.
There you go.
There'll be a lot of fireworks.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's remarkable what you've done, Stephen, and
Thank you.
I've admired your company and the way you run your business, and it's amazing to me the quality of titles that you've been able to bring out to market, because I have a large collection of Stronghold games, and my family loves them, and it's just been a real treat to be a part of that and to get to know you and see how you operate. So well done, well done.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Can I ask a quick question?
No.
No, okay.
Okay.
Kabuki Kid, a regular watcher of us, has just written a message about the Shelf of Shame. Now, I have to admit that I've got 2 Stronghold games sitting in my Shelf of Shame. One's Among the Stars and one's Core Worlds.
Okay.
They're in English, and it's hard to get French players to play those type of games. But Kabuki Kid wants to know if Stephen has any Shelf of Shame games.
Well, I have to beg ignorance. What exactly is a Shelf of Shame? Something that I don't play?
No, these are games that are on your shelf that you've purchased but have yet to get them to the table.
Oh God, you should see my game closet. I have a lot of shrink wrap games on my game closet. You know what? That is a great segue into our game show, because that'll be the answer to the game. How's that? How do you like that? Because I have not played, well, my copy of this game yet, which I had to unshrink wrap to get ready for this podcast. So let's go for that.
He's like a professional. Go for it, Barry.
Like maybe I've done this once or twice before, right?
Yeah, I think he has done this.
Okay, cue music.
Cue music.
Wrong music. Welcome everybody to What Game is Behind the Door. Here in this segment, where we put in our special guests to the test by asking them 3 questions. Questions like, what was the last game that they purchased? What is the game they're most excited about getting? And what is their favorite game right now? Berkey and Badger will have to figure out what these answers are by asking questions in particular styles. Let's find out if Berkey and Badger can get 3 out of 3 or fall flat on the floor like a floundering
Does anybody on this listening, watching this podcast, videocast, have any idea who that person was that you just put up on the screen? I'm actually amazed that people would know who that is. I do, because I watched him when I was younger.
I don't, because he's American.
Yeah.
I do know. Yes, yes.
Wow.
That was Sir. Do we have anybody that guesses?
Let's make a deal.
Let's make a
Monty
deal. And
Hall.
who was the Monty
Monty
Hall?
Hall, of course.
Yeah, they're all talking about terraforming Mars.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Okay. That was awesome, actually. You sold out of terraforming Mars at Gen Con. In addition to that, you got put on the local TV station talking about terraforming Mars.
That was cool. We actually sold out of 3 games at Gen Con. Terraforming Mars, the Dragon and Flagon, both of those sold out in 3 hours, just over 3 hours for both of those games on Thursday. And City of Spies sold out in a couple of days. And we did very well also with the other 2 new games, The Pursuit of Happiness and Kraftwagen V6 Edition. So, yeah, Gen Con was amazing. And then, to top it all off, because I had nothing better to do on my Sunday morning after like going out on Saturday night and trying to relax a little bit, I was on the local news, the local Fox News affiliate, and they did a 3-minute segment on Terraforming Mars with me and the head of LudoFact USA, which is where that game is assembled and partially printed. So this game is a made in the USA game. Some parts came from Germany, some parts came from China, but some were printed here, and it was a final assembled, shrink wrapped, and shipped directly from Lafayette, Indiana, which I believe is about an hour outside of Indianapolis, right to Gen Con for me. And now the remaining of the games are sitting in my warehouse getting ready to be sold to you in the September release dates.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just made a note of that, actually, a LudoFact of that. And we'll talk about that
I see what you did there. Very good.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in the Babble here.
All right.
Okay, so Gary, bring us to question number 1. Tell us what's going on.
Okay, question number 1. We've tweaked it a little bit to make it a bit more easy for Berkey and I, because we can never seem to get the correct answer. So the first question is, what was the last game that Stephen purchased? And what he's going to do is he's going to hold one component up in front of the camera. We'll explain it to you audio listeners. And then we will ask him a question each, and he will respond by either saying yes or no. And we will do this 5 times, and we will see if we can get it before those 5 times are up, and hopefully score ourselves a point. So, component number 1, Mr. Buonocore.
Are we ready?
Yep.
Here we go. You guys can describe. It's fairly large. Wait, can I get that in focus? Put it.
That's fine.
Little.
It looks like a cylinder. It's a white cylinder. Is that made out of wood?
Am I allowed? Wait, are you allowed to ask questions?
Well,
no.
Am I allowed to describe? Am I allowed to describe its physical characteristics? But I'm pretty sure you can see it.
Yeah, it's a white cylinder. It looks like it's about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches tall. From what I would see there, he's putting it kind of in front of the camera, but that's about what looks like the scale.
We'll give you that answer, as it is about 2 inches. Yep, it's very big.
Yeah, and about 2 centimeters diameter as well. Okay.
That's correct.
My first question is this game a recent release in the past 3 years?
All right. Now that's your one and only question, right? For this segment, right?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Okay. I'm going to make a guess. I'm going to say it's Time Stories.
You're right. Too easy, I guess. And there's your next bit, the die with the different symbols on it.
Yeah.
I was going to do that one. I was going to do some chits like this, but of course this is not making great radio. But you're
okay, we need to explain each one, so let's go a little slower there. Bring up the die. Put up the die.
There you go. There's your die. But you already guessed it all, so you'll ruin the whole thing.
Yeah, there it is. He's got the die. You'll see that. Well, it was Time Stories.
Yes, it is Time Stories.
Oh, it is Time Stories. I didn't
yes,
catch
it is Time Stories.
I recognize the piece. Give it away.
I don't have time stories yet. I'm sorry.
No, nor do I.
So the sort of answering the other question from before this, I had played which one was it? The Marcy case. I had played the Marcy case, which is the second scenario, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
At the Gathering of Friends. I played it with Aldi and Chad Krazan. We had a great time, and I knew I wanted this. I knew it was going to be up my alley, this game. So I immediately went out and bought all of them. I bought the base game, and I bought the Marcy case, and I bought the what's the second part?
Egyptian one?
The Egyptian one, and then the Dragon Prophecy. But I have yet to play any of them with my friends because of other pressing things. So we'll get to the table, and very good. You got Time Stories. Very
Way to go,
unique.
Barry.
Very unique game.
There it is.
I think we made it a bit too easy.
Well,
I guess
he would have had. I was thinking junk art, so.
All right.
there you go.
All right, I guess we're going to go on to part 2 then.
Yeah, in this question, we're going to ask what game Stephen is most excited about getting. So this is a game that isn't out, or it is out, but he hasn't had time to pick it up. And what he's going to do first is he's going to draw us an image, and we have to guess from this image, kind of like Pictionary style, what this game is.
And this is one of Stephen's main skill sets. He's a classical artist. He was trained at Joliet and studied music and fine arts.
Yeah.
So he's worked very hard on this.
Yes. Specifically, I draw like a 3-year-old, so I want you to make sure people know that, people who are going to look at this. If your child cannot draw this good, you probably been tested for something. So now this is probably going to be easy, but I am looking forward to like playing the crap out of this.
Okay, he's already drawn us something.
I've already drawn this because.
Oh, that was good. Oh, look what he's done there. I know what's going on here. This is Sir Stephen Buonocore. There's nobody I know on this face of this planet that can plug something like this guy.
Okay, let's explain it. Let's explain it. We have a big box which encompasses the whole page. And inside the box there's 4 characters. One of them has a sword. One of them looks like they're swinging from a lampshade from a table. Another one looks like they're doing karate. And there's this one on the left which has just jumped off a barrel. I think is shooting a gun.
Oh, the one guy's he's hanging from the chandelier. And I mean, it's a fight going on.
And there's a dartboard in the corner there. On the wow.
Yeah, that's like a tavern brawl. And these guys are like piratey. This is none other than Dragon and Flagon.
The Dragon of...
Oh, I thought it was nothing personal.
Very cool drawing of that, but yes, that's what. Yes, that's a little self-serving, obviously, me putting that on there.
So why are you excited about getting this then, Stephen?
Why? Because this game has me like written all over it. If you want like Stephen Buonocore's, what I love in a game more than anything is the social environment of a game, right? The sitting around a table, enjoying an experience together. You know, Euro games are great, and I usually play the lighter middleweight types. I don't go for like the Kanban styles, which mine, and it's a phenomenal game. But I like to sit around. My favorite kind of games are games where we're having an experience together. 8 players, and you are going to be laughing end to end. The misfortunes of your comrades, you know, are there just for you to see. As you know, as somebody tries to swing from the chandelier, but somebody pushes the table from under them, and they have to fall down. Somebody is trying to swing a sword, but the person, you know, got out of the hitting chairs over people's heads. just a fun, crazy experience that I'm dying to play it. I have never even I haven't played it, tweaking this up, got it all to the printer and got it. Never played my produced version, which obviously we had at Gen Con and sold it out, and it's tomorrow's the street date for my, which is on next Tuesday. I'm going to insist that we get onto the table so that I can finally play my own.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, that was a good one, Barry. We're going to go on to part number 3. That was actually a very good drawing.
Yeah.
You're selling yourself short, buddy.
No.
Then you need help.
We all know that. Part 3, Sir Barry.
Okay. We're going to ask Stephen now what his current favorite game is. Now, this is the game that he loves right now, that he would love to take to bed if it was a person of the opposite sex. This is the game that he can't stop playing. This is the game that he would go down the pub and drink beer with. So what we're going to do...
Are you saying it can't be someone of the same... Do you have a problem with that?
No, but...
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Okay,
Just mixing it up.
I'm glad that YouTube decided to glitch a bit and drop some of those words out there. Anyway.
Your signal's cracking up a little bit there, Stephen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No worries. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 5 one-word clues. Stephen's going to give us 5 one-word clues, which is going to describe this game, and me and Berkey have to guess what this game is from these one-worded clues. Now, this is where you can be really devious.
All right.
And win yourself a point.
Do I get the points?
If you can foil us after your 5th clue.
That's right. We've already got you 2-1, even if you win.
Yeah, I know. I'm not doing good here.
So, but don't give up. You go for 2nd place.
I'm too easy on you guys. All right. Game that I'm drooling over and want to take to bed with me, etc., etc., etc. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. First clue is story.
Okay.
Well, he already did time stories, so it can't be that.
No. And it's a game that is already published and then he owns, and hopefully he owns. So something with a story.
He does like narrative.
Mm-hmm. I got the air of impression that he likes RPGs.
Well, that's interesting. I'm going to just throw a wild one out there and say Dead of Winter.
You are incorrect.
All right, Barry?
Okay. I will say Matches of Madness, 2nd edition.
Ooh.
Incorrect.
Okay.
Oh, that was a good one.
Both good guesses.
Okay.
All right.
2nd.
Miniatures.
Ooh.
If he says cubes for his 3rd one, I'm going to... miniatures. Okay.
Miniatures. Now, that's very interesting. The others have just come out. A lot of buzz about that. Knowing how he loves to plug his own games, he could be talking about... Yeah, and but he's talking story. I'll just throw it out there. I'm going to say the others.
Incorrect.
Okay.
Right, I haven't got clues, Kevin, but has Blood Rage got story in it?
Oh, yeah, we make a story every time, baby.
Oh.
But that's probably not it.
Okay, I'll say Legend of Andor.
Incorrect.
Okay. Oh, there's no miniatures in Legend of Andor, you idiot. Oh, it's all cardboard standees.
That is correct. Too bad. 3rd clue.
Yep.
3rd clue.
Rolls. And that's spelled R-O-L-E-S, not dice rolls.
Okay.
Rolls.
Oh, rolls.
R-O-L-E-S.
Not like belly rolls. Not like caramel rolls. I know all about those.
Not
Chicken
like
rolls.
those.
Beef jerky
Okay.
rolls.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Jerky rolls, yeah.
Rolling Stones rolls.
Okay, rolls. So we're going to be role-playing now.
Pandemic Legacy. There's no
my
miniatures in
God.
that, is there?
Yes, there is.
Very.
And you're right.
No!
Son of a gun. You son of a
Hey!
gun.
3 for 3!
You son of a gun.
Woo!
I can't believe you.
Yeah, baby.
We can't give away too much spoilers, but yes, there are plastics in that game, right? We don't want to talk too much about it. Very amazing. My
We
next two.
took down the Podfather on the Berkey and Badger board game Babble show!
Hey, it's your dumb game show. Of course you're going to be good at it.
You know, we made him an offer that he couldn't refuse. You know.
Oh my God.
You know, I think he sleeps with the fishes.
Let me type something interesting here.
I'm worried now that I'm going to end up as like a permanent resident of a motorway in Germany in October. So might be like in the tarmac or in a concrete pillar. So look out for me if you're passing through Germany in November.
Stephen has put up on his little placard there, "Why am I this dumb?"
No, it's not what I wrote.
No.
Why am I this dumb?
Well, thank you very much, Stephen. That was really interesting. You pointed out 3 really good games: Time Stories, the other one, and Pandemic Legacy.
Well, he's definitely cult of the new.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, you kind of have to be, and sort of as a publisher, you kind of have to be finding out what's happening, and I just, the games I mentioned are ones that are really interesting to me. So
Yeah.
it's my style,
and,
my style.
And a lot of other ones. Those games are highly rated at a lot of the award shows, and a lot of buzz going on about it. That's fantastic.
Sure,
Well, Barry,
sure.
why don't we just move right on into our Babble topic and really let's get into this thing?
Okay. We're not going to do the good, the bad, and the ugly?
Oh, yeah, let's do that first.
Okay, then.
Never. This is the rule. Never give two monkeys a podcast or a keyboard.
No.
All right. The good, the not so bad, and the ugly.
Where's this?
Oh, no.
The good. The not so bad. For it. And the ugly.
Glad my face wasn't right there.
Yeah, that was quite a moment. The king did not know what to do with himself with that one.
No. No, it's like it wasn't in France, because it would have been a French kiss.
Well, there was no, we don't
maybe.
want any of that. But there was something kind of interesting there. Right after that happened, he made a comment and he said, "Ooh, what was that?" I think it might have had something to do with mustache wax.
And that's called Buonocoring, is it?
That's being Buonocored.
I got that. I got that expression or that moniker or that item, the being Buonocored, by Stephanie Straw. Everyone knows Stephanie, lovely person. She at BGG Con 2014, she posted that on Twitter, me giving her a kiss on the cheek like that, saying, "I've been Buonocored. My officially my BGG Con has begun," or something like that. And ever since that hashtag has been going around, being Buonocored. Hashtag Buonocored.
Kabuki Kid says, yeah, that's going to be now in the new Urban Dictionary.
I hope so. I'll take it.
Make a game out of it. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's one thing about you, Stephen. Every time I've seen you at conventions, you're always so engaging with all the people that are there. You just love to have fun, and it's very obvious. And that's what this thing should be about. I'm so glad you do wild, fun stuff like that.
Yeah, I reckon
thank you.
they should replace Pokemon Go with Buonocore Go. Kids running around with their iPhones. Where is it? Where is it? It's over here. It's over here. Hey, kiss.
We can call it Get Buonocore.
Instead of Get Smart.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to hear a little inside tale about getting Buonocore or chasing Buonocore around?
Yeah.
Really quickly, Eric Lang and I have an annual bet on something, and the loser of the bet has to win bunny ears at the closing ceremonies at BGGCon every year. So this year's bet was, and we don't tell anybody what it is until it's over and it's been adjudicated. This year's bet was at Dice Tower Con in Orlando, Florida, in the beginning of July. Eric and I were going to walk around and just act like we're not really talking to each other, but we're just walking together, and we're very we're available to be stopped and be engaged by the fans. And Eric bet me that more people would want to talk to him and recognize him than recognize me and talk to me. Well, I took that bet.
That's
all I want to say is that for the third year in a row, Dr. Eric Lang will be wearing bunny ears again at the closing ceremony at BGGCon 2016. That's all I have to say.
Oh, I want to put odds on this one.
Oh yeah. So
good.
wait till you see the epic bunny ears that I'm going to get for him to wear. There you go.
Well, now you've enlisted the help of all your minions, to get in there. You got all your thuggies running around with.
Well, this bet is over, so it can't change now. So he's going to be wearing those bunny ears, so it's all good for this year. Next year we'll change the bet up to something else.
I gotcha.
Cool.
So that was pretty exciting. That's big fun.
My jaws ache from laughing.
Well, we're going to move right into.
We're in the good, the bad, the ugly.
We're already there.
We're trying to get there.
I keep derailing you.
Yeah. The good, the bad, and the ugly section is our first impression segment. A game that we've played for the first time, and we're going to give it a review, a kind of abbreviated review. It's either going to be called good, because it's a game that we wanted to play again immediately afterwards, or we will want to play it again and probably own it. We'll give it a not-so-bad rating if it's a game that we could take or leave. If it came our way, we might play it again or might not leave it. And the ugly rating is obviously it's a stinker. We're going to leave this in the corner in the playtesting section, maybe. I don't know. So, Berkey, what game have you been playing brand newish?
Well, this was a Gen Con pickup. I think we mentioned it last week a little bit in our Gen Con show, some of the things we picked up.
Yeah.
This was the game Star Trek Ascendancy from Gale Force 9. Pretty good sized box there. You see the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, basically what's happening this is a 4X type of game because you're exploring. You are getting warp trails, and these warp trails are in different, these lanes are in different distances, and then you're going to explore planets. These planets flip over, and there can be hazards or crises to these planets, or these planets can give you resources. And what you're trying to do is build your civilization, if you will, by increasing in ascendancy. And once you get 5 of these culture tokens, you are going to move up an ascendancy. While you're doing that, you're gathering these different types of resources, culture and upgrades to upgrade your equipment. You're going to be managing fleets of ships. You can have up to 3 of these fleets, and you're going to be increasing your shields. You're going to be increasing other technologies. You are also going to get special abilities once you can spend some of these resources to give you additional things that eventually will end up in combat. Currently, it's a 3-player game where you are playing with the Klingons, the Romulans, and the Federation. That's a real basic overview of the game. Barry, what do you think I think about this?
Okay, I think, because I know you're a big Star Trek fan, and I am too, I have to admit. It sounded from what you were saying that it does sound very, very kind of, there's a lot of elements of Star Trek in there, which makes you want to be in the show. So I'm going to say that
I'll throw this in. I'll give you a little clue here too, but I'm going to throw this in. This is a very long game.
Oh, right. Oh dear. Do you like long games? I think you don't like long games, so I'm going to have to say that it's not so bad.
And what's the not so bad there? Okay, what do you think there, Sir Buonocore?
I have to pick whether or not I think you're going to be wanting to play it more.
You can choose whether I think it's good or not so bad or ugly.
Oh, I'm going to say it's good. I'm going to say it's good, and you're going to want to keep playing this game.
There we go. It's good!
Yeah. Buonocore finally gets something.
He gets a ding. Give him a ding.
I'll give him a ding. Dear me.
Achievement unlocked. Come on. There we go. I got something.
Yeah, no, I got to tell you.
That's even better.
There we go.
Gale Force 9, I just think that they've done a pretty good job with IPs, particularly this one. This is Star Trek in a box. It is absolutely thematic. The things that happen when you reveal these planets is amazing. These cards that come into play, they're very reminiscent of the series. So if you've followed, Star Trek, you're going to feel that. The miniatures are phenomenal. The production is just off the hook. This is a beautiful box of games, and they've already got factions now that they're coming up. Now get this. I'm just gonna do this right now. Jamie Keggy from the Secret Cabal. Okay, he goes. These new factions, the Ferengi, the Cardassians. He's kind of poo-pooing on the Ferengi. He goes, I don't want any of these. Get out of my face. I don't want any of these Ferengis. Well, I got something to say to Jamie Keggy. Okay. Ferengis are awesome. These two grubs are chilled to perfection, Quark. I mean, what's better than Latinum, right? I mean, these guys, this faction, I looked into it. It's all about Latinum. It's all about trading. Well, this is awesome. This is going to be great. And then it makes it into a 4-player game. And then they got the Cardassians. It's all military type of thing. I'm sure they're going to come up with other alien species that are going to be added to this. And the way this map unfolds, as this game plays, this game becomes just so truly epic because it's unfolding. And am I going to try to protect my bases, or am I going to go after the other guy's base, or am I just going to go for culture to get ascendancy? I won the game against my super smart engineering son. Yes!
No.
Yes! And so Josiah went down. Stephen, you haven't met my son, but he's brilliant. He's a computer science major. He wins all the Euro games. Never seen anybody read a rule book as quickly as him, be able to understand the strategic value, how to play the game, and teach others. It's amazing. We're all afraid of him. Yeah.
Very cool.
Because it's box farts.
Yes, he's Bob Boxfart. Yes, of course. But anyway, Star Trek Ascendancy, I can't share enough love about this game. This is going to be moving way up into my top of the games. I love Star Trek. I love this game. Can't wait to play it again. This is in my thoughts. So.
Is it going to go up on your top shelf above, in front of Royals? Wait a minute. Ching.
Yes, I like it better than Royals. I love Royals, but look at that. How awesome is that?
That's awesome. Okay, you've made me want this game now. Hope it's at Essen.
Well, I did something kind of cool. I didn't even know that I was helping Arcade Wonders, and so when we work in the booth, they give us a little credit to buy some games and stuff, but I didn't know that vendors did this. But a lot of the workers, you know, they've already acquired some of these games. They go and they'll trade these games with other vendors. And I was able to make a trade for some Sheriff of Nottingham and some Mage Wars and Oni Thomas stuff to get this particular game. And I was just so excited I could hardly stand it to get home to play this game. So I was just thrilled about it.
Wow.
Excellent.
Second market. It sounds good.
Yeah.
Have you played it, Stephen?
No, I've not. I have not played it. It looks gorgeous. I am a huge Trek nerd from way back from from original series days. I was a kid when that was on, but I do remember watching it first run. But no, I have not played this. It looks like something I would adore.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I know Jamie and the Secret Cabal guys too were super excited about it, and I think they're loving on it. So.
Okay, my turn.
Yes, Barry, what have you been playing?
Ticket to Ride. Now, you're probably saying Ticket to Ride, that's an old game. Yeah, but I'm talking about the expansion United Kingdom now. Yeah, I went out and bought this because it's the UK, which is where I'm from. No, I'm not homesick. I love it here in France. This is Ticket to Ride, which is a very simple family train game where you are acquiring matching color cards to let you buy trains, to put them on a map and connect cities up and give you points. What United Kingdom map does is it has a technology-based tree. At the beginning of the game, you can't go everywhere, you can't do everything. The only thing you can do is build train routes which are too long. You're not allowed to go across water with ferry routes. You're not allowed to go into Wales or Scotland or Ireland. And you're limited basically to just very, very small routes. But you can buy these technology cards with one of the locomotion cards, which are like jokers. And so you pay these locomotion cards to buy these technologies, and then you can build longer routes, and then you can go across water, and then you can do this and that. So it plays exactly the same as Ticket to Ride, but it has this unlocking element of each turn during the game. So that's basically it. What do you think? I think of Ticket to Ride United Kingdom.
Wow. Well, go ahead, Stephen. You can take a guess first.
I think that Barry loves this idea for this game. Not only is it the UK, his homeland, but also it just takes a great, and it is a great game. Alan Moon really did a great service to the hobby by designing Ticket to Ride. It takes that great core engine and adds something interesting into it. I've never seen it before myself. So what you just told me makes me want to play it. So I think Barry loves it.
Okay.
And this Barry has the Pennsylvania map in it as well, right?
Yeah, it has, and I haven't played it yet. So I couldn't tell.
Well, I'm the opposite of you. I've played the Pennsylvania, and that adds a stock element, which is unbelievable. This game was rated if I remember right, I hope I'm getting this right, was the best expansion of the year from the Dice Tower Awards.
Okay.
So very highly rated. Again, I'm in agreement with Stephen. I think because you like Ticket to Ride, it's a great family weight game for your family. It's your home country. It's got to be good.
Oh.
Not so bad.
Not so bad. It is so close to being.
Oh.
It is so close to being ugly.
Wow.
I played it once. Yeah, it's really, really shocking. Played it once, and it just bogged the game down. This technology tree bogged the game down. It was annoying. You had to think about what you were trying to achieve with your tickets, because obviously you get your tickets where you've got to connect two cities to get mega points. But then you had to think about, okay, which technologies do I want? Which technologies do I need? Because some of the technologies will let you pay for a route with one card less and things like that. And it just became it bogged the game down considerably. It made the game a lot harder. And people were making mistakes at the table. People were doing illegal moves because they thought that they had this technology, and so they went across into another country, island, not another country. They went across into another part of the map, without realizing that they hadn't had the bit, and it kind of, when you realize that after about 3 turns later, it kind of like, oh dearie me. And it was very, very thinky. You had to think about, you had to weigh up everything. Now I'm sure for people that like these kind of medium to heavyweight Euro games, this will be brilliant for them. But after this first play, it was like, oh my god, this is really, really taking the fun out of the game. That, you know, with the other expansions, the adjustments are very, very light. They just add a little bit here and a little bit there. This tech tree just, I thought I was going to love it because I like the idea and I like heavy games like that. But for some reason, maybe I was confused with the image of, this is Ticket to Ride, a light family game, and then you had this tech tree, and it was like, ah. So I played it once. I'm tempted not to play it again, but I will play it again just to convince myself that it is actually good. Because, yeah.
Wow, that like crazy surprises me. Stephen, have you played this game yet?
No, I have not played this edition. Map.
You know, I know Tom Vassell, Kabuki Kid, made a comment that Tom has really raved about this expansion being one of his favorites of all time, and when we played the Pennsylvania, I loved it. I thought that was remarkable, and I've enjoyed so many of those expansions. I have all of them, but the India map, and but I haven't played this one, so this now is actually kind of makes me want to play this and find out, because I tend to like that more medium to heavy Euro deal. You know, Kanban, Stephen, is one of my favorite games, and people talk about it being such a slog to get into it and whatnot.
Yeah, I think it was just the fact that, you know, you think it's going to be Ticket to Ride, which is a light to medium game, and it actually, boom, slaps you in the face, and then you're like, wait a minute, I can't do that move now. I was going to do that, but I haven't got that technology, and it's like, ah. And so it just becomes a hunt for the locomotive cards, and you're just like, draw.
Well, again, this is our first impressions, and you know, we're taking a look at a game, and it's not been thoroughly played through at different player counts and all those kind of things. But
yeah,
you know, oftentimes we get to a game and we have these impressions, and so it's interesting to analyze that, and so maybe that's something we should delve into a little bit more. Let's move right on into the Babble topic with our special guest, Stephen Buonocore of Stronghold Games.
Where's my
Babble?
Babble logo, Babble. Where's it gone? I've lost my monkeys.
Live TV.
Ah, dearie me. There's my monkeys.
I thought this was a professional. There we go.
Yeah.
Wrong music.
No.
And now it's time for the Babble, 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 Berkey and Badger's board game Babble.
Well, here we're going to get into it, and we're going to be babbling with our special guest, Stephen Buonocore, of course, from Stronghold Games. And we've got a lot of different topics that we want to talk about with Stephen. But basically, we titled this episode, Make Him an Offer. And one of the things that we wanted to talk about is about what's happening in the industry with acquisitions within the industry and some of those related topics to the industry. We might veer off a little bit on that topic, but Stephen, how do you feel about a lot of the recent acquisitions that have been happening, you know, with Asmodee, Fantasy Flight, and Plaid Hat Games, and now with the F2Z merger talk and all of that? How do you see this, and what is your take on this type of thing?
From the beginning, I've been saying that there are two times in an industry when you see many mergers, many acquisitions going on, especially acquisitions. And this is across all industries in general. You see it in bad times when, like, there are failing companies, so a bigger company comes in and swoops them up and grabs the part of that company that's unique, that they can then utilize for themselves. And you see it in good times when things are booming and growing, and larger companies can then leverage a somewhat smaller company and leverage both of their growth together to make even a bigger thing. This is not like the bad times, or even if it was bad times, you wouldn't be seeing acquisitions going on, because we really don't have really that much of that like uniqueness. And like in technology, a company will go in and they'll buy that piece of technology and then use it in their software. So that's a way that a bad, during bad times, you'll see that kind of thing happening. Here, we're all in this hyper growth environment, and good companies are buying other good companies. And in general, and I'm possibly at the moment in the minority on this, because in the beginning I was trying to convince people that absolutely this is great for the industry. And I still believe that it's a very good thing for the industry, seeing various companies getting purchased. Because let's just think about it. Let's look at the numbers on the number of companies out there, right? Asmodee is obviously the 800-pound gorilla and getting bigger, right? They bought Days of Wonder, Fantasy Flight, Catan, just the IP of Catan alone. So they made a Catan Studios. They bought a number of other smaller companies, and now essentially buying Zman Games, Zman and the umbrella company F2Z is how they've positioned it right now. So there's one company, right? That's one company. Well, how many other companies are there out there right now? Oh, about 1,000 of us, give or take many hundreds. So there's one company that is using its clout, its marketing ability, pushing us to the next level out there, showing more and more people about this industry and about this hobby, and all the rest of us, all of us smaller companies, and believe me, compared to them, we are all tiny. Even the next level up is tiny almost compared to them. We are all kind of riding a wave with them, and a rising tide is floating all boats. And I still believe that this is a very good thing in general for the industry. You're not going to see, people have been saying, people have been like now forecasting the doom of civilization almost, if not at least the doom of board gaming. You're not going to see stifled creativity, no, because it's still going to, first of all, it's going to still come out of those companies, even those big ones, but you're going to see them come out of the smaller companies. Everything that we see happening right now is just going to continue happening, but we're going to now have more focus on it because you've got a billion-dollar company out there pushing themselves deeper and deeper and expanding the market, helping us all expand the market due to the clout that they have. So I am a proponent of what's happening right now. There are ways that it could get not good.
Well, that was one thing I wanted. That was one thing I wanted to ask you, Stephen. I've been listening to your podcast. I've listened to all of the episodes, binge listened to them for the Board Game Insider podcast. Great podcast, guys. Check it out if you haven't checked that out, the Board Game Insider. And that's with Stephen and with Ignacy Chevicek from Portal Games. In one episode, you were talking about this, and Ignacy seemed to have a more, I don't want to say fearful, but a more concerned attitude about what was happening, and maybe from the standpoint of Asmodee having the power to buy some of the distribution possibilities, and that could maybe become a problem. How do you feel about that?
Right now, Asmodee does own at least 2 distributors in Europe. Estevium, which is the largest UK distributor, or Estevium, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Estevium, I believe. Yeah. Right? And I forgot the name of the other one. I apologize for that.
It's not Alliance, or
no. It's another European distributor.
Oh,
so
European.
they've gone into distribution in Europe. For me, I can't comment as much about how that affects the European market because I'm not obviously as deeply involved in the European market. But let me take it from the point of view of the U.S. market. They're not buying U.S. distributors. They have not made any moves to do so. It is my humble opinion, with maybe some knowledge as well thrown in, that that's not something that they're looking to do. If a company controls the entire chain of distribution, that could start to cause problems. If, for instance, a distributor said, well, we're not going to carry all of your games. We're only going to carry these games. So that could. But you know what? The amazing thing about the free market economy is that when something like that happens, other people step up. So if, and that's literally, I have zero knowledge of this, but let's hypothesize. Let's say that Asmodee bought one of the 5 major U.S. distributors. I mean, they have the clout, they have the money to do it, and I don't believe it's going to happen.
Right.
Let's say they did. So guess what? All of a sudden, and I'll just pick one, let's say they bought Alliance. So all of a sudden, guess what? GTS will say, we are going to double down Stronghold and buy twice as much of your product to push it out twice as hard because those guys aren't going to be pushing it, so we're going to step into their shoes and do it. So Asmodee is not looking to buy everybody. They're just not. I mean, that doesn't make sense. If they did continue down a chain, other people would step up and correct it from a perspective of the free market economy that we all live in. As you guys might know, and as maybe some of your listeners know, I have a business background. I've been in IT on Wall Street for my entire career, and that is 35 years. And recently, very recently, just left that, and now Stronghold is the only thing that I do. So I have a certain amount of knowledge of what I speak about. I was not on the business side on Wall Street, not on the trading side or the sales side, but I also have education in business, so I have a little bit of knowledge about what I speak about, and I truly believe that the kind of moves that they are making is the sign of healthy things going on. And with all of us out there, all of the other companies putting out so much good product, and let's face it, the product out there is really good that everyone's putting out. It really is golden age of board gaming here. That we're going to continue seeing all of those 1,000 other small companies putting out continuously great product while Asmodee does their thing, buys some companies, and does also some really great product. So I am not fearful of what I'm seeing right now. I am shocked by the last one, the F to Z acquisition. I had predicted it in my head that it would happen in like 2017, 2018. I said that's obviously the next thing that they should and will probably do. I was blown away by the fact that it happened mid-2016.
I found it kind of interesting. It was a couple of years ago at BGG-Con, and when Plaid Hat Games was bought out, and I was talking to Colby actually a little bit, and here you got this brilliant, energetic young man that has this vision for these great games and stuff, and yet it seemed like maybe and I don't know the whole story, but it kind of like the business side of running the company was bogging down his creativity almost, and the acquisition, and I could be wrong about this was my perception or takeaway, but he was really thrilled about it because it could allow him to focus then in more on what he was really good at and called to do, you know. And so just because a company is bought out doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a bad thing. I always think about change as possibly being an upgrade. Why can't it be better? Why does it have to be worse?
Exactly. I mean, that's it, and that's exactly it. If you've seen something bad happen out of the current acquisitions, let me know what you think it is, because I'm not seeing that. Now, that's separate from the potential bad, maybe, and I'm not sure if it's bad about some of their pricing policies. I don't know. That's sort of not something that that I'm involved with, right? They've changed pricing policies for who can buy and how much you can charge. But they could have done that regardless of any acquisition. Asmodee is big enough to make those kinds of statements. You can only buy our games if you're certain types of stores, and you must sell it at certain prices. Those are legal things to do. We can make arguments of whether those things are good or not, and who they're good for or not good for. I think that's a very legitimate thing, but those are independent of the fact that a very large company is spending a lot of money in the industry buying other good companies and growing them together and helping us all rise the industry together.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. They are actually a big umbrella to help protect all these small companies from the rain and also guide them in the right direction. Having their own distribution with Svedium and the other one, which is in France somewhere, excuse me, is great for these smaller companies because they're injecting little ideas or techniques on how to produce their game and making them better. And that is what is great about this hobby. If a game can be just a piece of paper, but Asmodee will take that piece of paper from you and make it into a great game which is going to sell, let's say, 5,000 copies, you'd want that, wouldn't you?
You're darn right. Absolutely.
Yeah, and again, what I've seen in France is they bought Fantasy Flight, but the thing is, Fantasy Flight stuff here in France is being produced by a Spanish company called Edge. And so now, the future of Fantasy Flight games being produced in France will be from Asmodee, which is a kind of a bonus as well, because the Spanish made lots of spelling mistakes in French, unfortunately. But it's good for the French, it's good for the Germanys, it's good for Belgium because they speak French as well. So it's good for Europe in general because they're more capable of processing those kind of games and that kind of scale of game as well. Because Fantasy Flight is big, isn't it? I hope.
They are very big.
Yeah.
And they are the biggest division now within Asmodee. And to show how important they are and how important that acquisition was above all the other ones, or how important it was, they placed Christian Peterson, the former president, CEO of Fantasy Flight, now as the CEO of Asmodee North America. And if nobody else can make this work, make this organization work, it's Chris Peterson. He is a genius. He's a wonderful guy. I've known him for years. We're good friends, and I think that they're going to continue to do great stuff under his leadership. Asmodee North America. Of course, he's on the board of directors. On Asmodee, the main company as well.
So let's say that Asmodee buy out every single game company in existence.
All 1,000 of us.
All 1,000 of you. There's still going to be separate little umbrellas. There's going to be divisions.
Yeah.
And so it won't all be controlled from one place. It's going to be like the Fantasy Flight example. It's Christian. He's still there. He's still doing what Fantasy Flight does. He still has those guidelines that he set himself, and that's the type of games that he's going to be producing. But it's, with the help of Asmodee, and I don't see that as a bad thing.
Yeah. And that's a good point. Every acquisition they've made, they run them as, they call them imprints. You can call them game studios, and they run them independently. So they still have a brand identity, and they're still run
flavor.
Well. Yeah, and they're really run as independent companies under an umbrella. So there's no way that they're buying 1,000 companies. That goes without saying. But I'm sure they'll be buying more, and I'm sure that is the general model that's going to continue for years under their umbrella.
Well, I think, too, the quality of the games and the quality of the companies that they've acquired and continue to produce higher quality product, doesn't that help all of us? I mean, it helps all of the game manufacturers, all of the industry, when the bar is being raised to produce better. Sure. That causes all of us to step up. Well, that's just great for the hobby.
That's absolutely true. Absolutely. We're seeing the printers themselves, the people where the games are actually made, manufactured, all of those companies, Ludofact, being the largest one in Germany, they're just moving to the U.S., many that go on in China. We're seeing all of them increasing their print qualities as well. So everybody together is seeing that there's so much attention being paid here, and they're all stepping up the game together, and that's generally just a really good thing.
That was one thing I wanted to ask you about. Have you actually? I'm assuming you've been to Ludofact because I know you do a lot there. But have you been personally to some of these facilities in China, Germany, so forth?
I have yet to visit a single one of them in person.
Really?
That's correct. You take a little bit of a leap of faith in these regards, but of course you're dealing with very reputable companies. Certainly, I've never been to China. That goes without saying. Very few of the publishers have been there. I do plan on going at some point. It would be very nice to see the.
I'll go with you. I'll carry your suitcases.
I'll carry Berkey.
There you go. Very good. Very good. But I'll certainly end up going to Ludofact USA. I'm sure the next time I'm in in the area, just to see how that's running. So but no, I have not been to any of the printing facilities yet.
Well, I'm kind of curious as to, because of the demand, because so much more product is there, are they scaling up production, having more printing presses, larger facilities, expanding? We want to talk a little bit about Ludofact North America there, but how is that all happening in them meeting demand?
There was a decent amount of excess demand, excess capacity that was out there, certainly in China that I know of. Ludofact Germany has shown, first of all, they've expanded capacity. I know they've expanded capacity in Germany, and they're actually having a problem keeping up completely. And therefore, one of their responses was to open Ludofact USA, which gives me access to games not necessarily cheaper. They're not cheaper. In fact, I might save a little bit on shipping, but still I have to pay some of the shipping of components around to get it here before final assembly. But I'm going to save time to market is really what my biggest savings is going to be from the time that I get ready to go to print to the time I have my games. I'll be saving time there. So there's expansion of capacity going on right now because of the fact that there is so much demand for printing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can I go off slightly on a deviant here?
Sure.
You are a deviant.
La la la. I like the way you talk to me. Where was I going? Read your notes. Okay, we have a spin-off of Fantasy Flight called Wind Rider Games, who are doing reprints of, at the moment, Reiner Knizia games and Bruno Cathala games. Now, obviously, not obviously, but do you think they fall under the same umbrella as Asmodee, or are they just a separate entity which are like working in conjunction with Fantasy Flight, or would you know?
I happen to know they're exactly like any one of the other companies under the Asmodee umbrella that we've talked about. They are an independently operated company that is specializing in doing some game reprints.
Reiner Knizia games.
Well, yeah, for the moment, I probably think it's going to be, their Eurogame arm. I believe that's sort of what they've sort of stated they're going to do.
Yeah, that's
going to be the Euro. Yeah, that's going to be the Eurogame arm. So you're going to see games that would, that Asmodee might have printed go over there, or if Fantasy Flight has done a few Euros, that might go over there. So each one of the companies will get a brand identity based on the type of games they do, and I believe that's where Wind Rider will ultimately fall.
Yeah. Talking about reprints, you started off as reprints as well, with Survive and Confusion and Code 77.
Yep.
Will you go back to those grassroots, or will you continue just expanding and absorbing companies yourself, because you have Artifia and you have 2F and...
Creating partnerships. Let's make sure we get that straight.
Okay, right.
Stronghold Games is not buying any companies. Not. Ever. Not.
Okay.
I started the company, and that was a very conscious decision to begin the company by looking for great older games that had great notoriety in one way or another. The name of the designer, the game's reputation, something about the game was phenomenal. Bring those games back because they already had a cachet, and maybe they were selling for $200 on eBay. So you kind of followed the market there to say, like, wow, this game is obviously something that people want to bring back. So go out, find the designers, find out who owns the license, bring it back, and bring it back, get it in house, and bring that game back. And that's something we did specifically to get the Stronghold brand raised. Mm-hmm. As we did that, but now that well has been tapped quite a bit. So yeah, I mean, we did several other games. We did Medina. We did many reprints of games. We're not going to be looking necessarily to do that. Would I do another one? Sure. If another great idea came to my head, and it made sense that this game really needs to be brought back. Let me go see if I can get that license.
Yeah,
but for the most part, we're going to create partnerships as we've been doing. That's going to be 70 to 80% of our games are coming from partnerships that we do, and then the other portion of it mostly is going to come from the in-house design, not per se in-house meaning I'm doing it because it's really me only, but like going to the Jeff Engelsteins out there and other great designers and saying, hey, we'd like to work with you on a game. What do you have going on? And then we would do that.
I'd like to work with you on a game or I'll break your legs. Sorry.
Something like that.
My father comes in. No, it sounds great. Was that a conscious decision as well to collaborate with companies instead of buy them out?
To make them an offer that they can't refuse,
Yeah.
In some ways, it's an extension of the first part, because if you think about it, the games that we co-publish, that we found partnerships with, are games that were harder to get in our core market, right?
Yeah.
North America is obviously my core market. I sell into Europe. I sell into Asia. We've got retail customers in Africa, in South Africa that purchase, Australia. So we're global in the distribution chain that we use, but the core market is North America. So when we said, well, what other games can we bring? Well, let's look at the games that are being done in Europe and Asia and find those games, partner with those publishers, and then brand them under the Stronghold label, sell them primarily in North America, but again with our reach, then sell them back out to the rest of the world. Many of the publishers that we do business with don't have global reach. They don't have They don't have a sales agent. We use a sales agent, PSI. You might have heard me talk about them in the past. They take my games, they warehouse my games, they fulfill my games, and they sell my games to distributors across the world, which gives me true global reach, and that's a really good thing.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant when you brought back actually Stronghold 2nd Edition from Portal Games, your partnership with, and of course, they have distribution themselves, but branding that with your company particularly, I thought was brilliant.
Yeah, I worked on Ignacy for a long time on that one, and he said yes. We had a final meeting on it, and he said, before we basically sat down, he said, let's do it. And I'm like, okay, great. He hates meetings. He hates business meetings. So, I wore him down. I made him an offer he couldn't
Do it again, Stephen.
I made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
Oh.
Kabuki Kid says, so are you going to reprint Confusion now that you brought it up?
Oh, that's interesting. How does he know that it's out of print? I guess he can't find it locally or something like that. That is good. That is my first game title that will remain out of print. So I guess I'm telling everybody, if they're dying for a copy, they better try to find it right now. Because that was a very expensive game to do. We could do it in a different kind of version, but I don't like to cheapen the brand and go to a different kind of version. So that game will be the first game that we don't actually go back and do a second printing on, because we sold out of our first printing and it did okay, and there's so many more games that we have to do right now.
Okay.
I'll
have to look out for that.
Well, let me ask you another question, and this is a little bit more from a marketing standpoint. You're acquiring you're having these strategic partnerships, as you call them, and last year you did 17 games, this year 21 games. Your lineup is increasing. I'm sure you have games in existing stock, even from past years, so forth. You have some evergreen titles, like you're talking. How many titles do you actually think that you can really do a good job focusing in on marketing, and how does that play with even your distribution when those games come out in different quarters and key events?
How many did I do this year? 21? 21, that's the answer. 21 is obviously the correct answer to that question. No, it is actually very difficult to also be able to support each game enough to get it enough recognition. So you have to be careful. I said last year that I was definitely going to do less games this year than I did last year, and of course I therefore lied to myself. But one of the things we did this year, though, we picked up an entire line of games from Eggertspiele that had gone out of print with the North American publisher. We picked up the entire Village line. It used to be done under TMG, and they decided to drop it. But so I saw an opportunity there for that great game to continue printing it. So I said, well, and I already had announced the strategic partnership with Eggertspiele, so it was a no-brainer to say, yes, we're going to do this as well. So I added those games right there. So I literally, really, maybe I can state that right now, that I'll do less games in 2017. Let's see if I lie to myself again next year. But I think that I should.
Okay. Is there a company that you'd like to see under the Stronghold banner? Asked Peter Shirley.
A partnership that I would like to create, I guess, is what he means.
Yeah.
And therefore,
bring under. He said to bring under the Stronghold umbrella.
All right. Categorically, and for the record, Stronghold Games is not buying any companies. Categorically, and for the record. And if there was a company that I would like to co-publish with, I really couldn't say so publicly because talks might be already in. We might already have talks going on, or B, it would not be the right thing to make that kind of statement before I was ready in talks. So I really can't. It's sort of like an unannounced game. I never comment. Like you can say tell me about a game you're bringing out next year, and I would not be able to unless they'd already announced it, and I really haven't announced any 2017 games.
Okay.
So could you tell us about a game that you haven't brought out yet?
What about in 3 years? Tell us about a game that you can bring out in 3 years' time.
I'm going to bring out.
Nobody's listening anyway. Come on.
I'm going to bring out the Berkey and Badger. This is a dumb show game. How's that? How about that? Would that be a good one? All right.
Should we round up with one final question?
Well, let me ask you one final. I'll ask you one final one, and then Barry, you ask him a final one.
Okay.
Is Stronghold Games Asmodee ready?
Asmo ready. Ignacy actually came up with that, which I think is the funniest little catch line. We used it on the first few podcasts, and we were saying, Stronghold Games or Portal Games, we are Asmo ready. I just don't think that. You know what? I think that Portal Games would be a great acquisition for Asmodee. I think that they absolutely would be. I think that makes sense on a lot of levels. And I do not think that Asmodee is going to be driving up the truck of money to my door in New Jersey anytime soon. But if they are, my address is no. I do not think that that's going to be happening. But
well, what makes you say that?
It just depends. I think that a lot of the acquisitions that they've made are true studios, like game design studios, and that's not 100% the case. That's not 100% the case. They certainly have bought IPs. Boom, they plucked out Catan, for instance. But now they created Catan Design Studio, Catan Studio. Most of the companies they bought are companies that are primarily focused on designing games and bringing those games to fruition. They have done some smaller companies that maybe are, let's call them co-publication houses or things like that. But I don't think that's their focus. I think that you're going to see more of the companies that they have been purchasing are the ones that they end up buying more of. So look, I would be a fool. Any businessman, any business person would be a fool not to listen to any offer that anybody makes. That's a serious offer, of course. That goes without saying. And if anybody says I would never sell out to anybody for any money, then you're just dumb. It's as simple as that. Unless you're independently wealthy. If you're independently wealthy and you don't need the money, but God knows, at some time in my life, I would like to relax and not work, 12 plus hours a day. So, sure. Somebody could come to me and say, we would like this, what do you think, how could we structure something? Of course, it's always possible. I just don't think it's in the cards at the moment.
Yeah. But again, Asmodee smaller houses like Space Cowboys, who have obviously made a big name for themselves, they've only got about 5 to 8 titles out at the moment.
That's right.
I can't even speak it. It's a French word and I can't even say it. Ludenaut, again, they've had a handful of games. Yeah, there's a lot of small French houses that are under the Asmodee umbrella. And, again, I can see where Steven's coming from, that they are kind of like, they have that kind of niche or a style or a certain je ne sais quoi, to say something French, which would make them stand out and probably definitely a good acquisition for them. So, yeah. Yes. Sorry.
Well, go ahead and wrap up our last question.
Wrap up the last question. Kabuki Kids asked a super question.
I mean, this guy must be like your biggest fan, because he's the only person asking questions, obviously. Even Chris Schreiber.
Yeah.
Even Chris Schreiber hasn't asked any questions, and I can't get the guy to shut up on my podcast.
He's falling asleep. He's falling asleep. He thinks he's in a meeting with you at the moment. He's probably
He already knows all the answers. See?
He emailed me before this and said I'll be watching, and he said make sure you talk about this stuff. And by the way, I'm not going to ask any questions.
Okay, so we talked about the game companies and the games that you would like to have under your umbrella, not under your umbrella. Yeah, do you like to do that with? He said, gesturing his hands together. Well, can you tell us about a game that got away? One of those games that you were gonna publish but didn't, and later on you find out it's published by someone else and it's done pretty well for itself.
Yeah, I'll mention 2 of them quickly.
Okay.
That were games that I damn well wanted to print, and didn't. The first one was with my strategic partner, Eggert Spiele, and it was the year before Stronghold Games really broke out, and I mean, I'd like to say, and became the sort of a real player in the industry, where I could pick up any game that I decided, I should. And I was offered Camel Up, which won the Spiel des Jahres, right? Wow. So obviously a great game. But at the time, I had already decided how many games I was going to do for the year, and I was already extending my capital really far. So it was just a little too early for me to pick up yet another game. Now, having said that, yes, I would have made a good amount of money on it, but a Spiel des Jahres winner to an American company is a completely different thing than the Spiel des Jahres winner to a German company or the person who owns that IP. So I would have sold, I don't know, I'll pick a number. I would have sold 10,000 units, maybe 15 to 20,000 on the high end in English, North America, and then out in other places. But that's the max I would have done. When you win the Spiel des Jahres in Germany, you sell 300,000 units of that game. That will make you, go buy an island someplace or something. That is, no pun intended, game-changing, life-changing kind of event. And that year they really put themselves on the map with that game. They had done The Village the year before and won the Kenner Spiel des Jahres. They've continuously put out great game after great game. That's why we're so proud to be their strategic partner for North America. So I would have really loved to have done that game because I loved it anyway, and I loved it. But we're big boys and we move on. Really?
Yeah. Really? You were bringing a tear to my eye.
I feel so bad now.
The other one that I will give a shout out to my good buddy Zev Schlesinger, and I love to mention Zev all the time because Zev is one of my inspirations in this industry. He was one of my oldest friends in the industry. Zev is doing a game that I really wanted to do, and we were both in contention for it. And since Zev was starting up his new division at WizKids, Zev is now the head of the board game division at WizKids. I said to him, Zev, I wouldn't do this for anybody else, but I'm giving you the game. I'm just going to say, you really want to do it, and this game will do great for you, so go for it, because it's great. It's called Rock, Paper, Wizard. was called Rock Paper Wizards when I had it. Rock Paper Wizard. It's by WizKids. It is a great light game where you're wizards casting your spells at each other, making actual like finger motions and pointing like this. Like you actually have to like do something like this, and that would be a spell. I'm showing something for the viewers out there.
Rude sign there.
Or like this. You would actually.
What were you doing with your finger?
We can go on for 3 more hours if you want, guys. Insanity here. So anyway, so you actually make these things, and you're casting spells, and the spells have an effect. My spell might do something to you, which then deflects to somebody else. Things like that. It's a really cool light game, small box game that Zev is doing. And I'm really happy for him that it's going to be one of the first games that comes out under Zev Schlosinger at his new WizKids board game division. So would love to have done it.
Yeah, sounds great.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So that's it. That's all I got.
Thank you very much.
Well, I got to tell you, this has just been a pleasure. Just as we've been talking here, there's just so many different things, different questions. Maybe we can have you back sometime. We'd love to have you back on the show.
That's great. We'd love to be here.
This was just a pleasure. Why don't we just give you a few minutes how can people get a hold of you, or what can the things that you're doing with your podcast and likewise with your company?
Sure. I mean, I've already shilled half of the games I'm doing this year, so I won't go through that list again. But to find Stephen Buonocore, to find Stronghold Games, you can go over to strongholdgames.com, of course. Sign up for our newsletter. Don't worry, we don't spam you. You only get very, very interesting newsletters, maybe once a month, once every couple of weeks at this time of the year, because there's so much going on. Follow us on Twitter at Stronghold Games. We're very active there, answering people's questions, talking about the company. Yeah, I got my little stuff there. What's wrong?
Chris Schreiber says, make sure to tell them, subscribe to his newsletter. It's really
that's right. Chris does a lot of work on that newsletter to make me sound very funny. But no, he's a great guy. He helps me out quite a be I've
been reading them and thinking it's you.
Well, it is me. It is me, but Chris tightens it up. He puts all the segments in there, and then I go in there.
Of you. Chris is doing an impersonation of you.
There you go. He really is my alter ego. You didn't know that, right? Anyway,
they are really good newsletters, though.
Thank you very much. And just come over to Stronghold Games, follow what's happening at the company, because I promise you there is something at Stronghold Games for every type of gamer at this point. And with the lineup we have coming up at the end of this year for Essen, and it's basically Essen releases, we are more proud of this slate of games than I could possibly imagine. It's such an exciting time for Stronghold Games here. So thank you guys for being big advocates of the company and of the hobby in general. I really appreciate letting me on the show to talk about the company. Thank you so much.
Okay, where can people find you next? Where's your next stop on your tour?
I doubt any listeners will be. I'll be at the Alliance Trade Show. That's an industry-only event. Alliance Distribution has a trade show out in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I'll be there in a couple of weeks. If anybody is there, come by and say hello. Any of the retailers are out there, or any of the other publishers, they can always, of course, we can always have a beer together. And then we're off to Essen. Only a few weeks, about 4 weeks after that. Essen's my biggest show of the year by far, in size of the booth, amount of business that I do. It's a phenomenal show. Please come by the Stronghold Games booth there, which is Hall 3, the big hall, 3M107, same place we've been, right across from Yellow and Pegasus Spiele and 2F Spiele. We've got this really great little corner there, middle of Hall 3. So I hope to see people there. And of course, BGG Con, my favorite convention of the year, kind of wraps up the convention season. We will, of course, be there playing and demoing our Essen releases.
Thank you very much, Stephen.
Thank you guys so much for having me on. Appreciate it.
No, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks again. Well, that's going to wrap up another Berkey and Badger Board Game Babble show. Make sure to check out our Facebook page, Berkey and Badger on Facebook, and go to BoardGameTheater.com or BoardGamesEverybodyShould.com and check out the Dragon and Flagon promotion. You get a chance to win a copy of Dragon and Flagon or a Dragon and Flagon a pint glass and a coaster. We're going to have several opportunities for you to enter with our Gleam app. We'd love to get involved. And tell us about your dragon, your favorite drink, by hashtagging MyDragon. Share that on Twitter, share that on Facebook, and tag Stronghold Games and tag Kimpec or T-Balance of Power. And Barry, do you want to send us out with any other information?
Yeah, give me a beer. I want a beer now. I'm so thirsty. It's so hot here. I'm going to go and get one. A nice left.
Special craft beer.
Especially craft beer. Yes.
Yes.
As I drink my chemical water here.
I'm all out of mine. My Vulcan blood is empty. So, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Thank you very much. It's been a great show. The audio podcast will be edited down in a couple of days, so expect to find an audio shortened version where we cut out everything that Stephen says. And and expect lots of cash registers every time Berkey opens his mouth. So,
all right.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you for your questions. And,
thank you, guys.
Obviously, don't forget the Board Game Geek Guild. We want some more questions. Give us some ideas of who we can get in the show as well.
Guild number 2248 on Board Game Geek.
And don't forget Board Games Insider.
Yeah.
Board Games Insider. Hey, that's a must listen, really. They do a great show. It's only 30 minutes, generally. And it's so fun listening to those guys.
Yeah, we're 30 minutes normally.
Yeah.
Not today.
4 sections of 30 minutes. That's the way we do it. That's the way we roll.
Okay, laters!
See you later, guys. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
We're so glad we had this time together. And now it's time to go. It won't be long until we have another show. So keep us in mind, get online. Berkey and Badger will be back in no time.